Hey everyone, John Nancy here from Chocolate Alchemy. A question I often get is when people notice beans that I've got from 2 or 3 years ago that I'm still offering, and they want to know if they're still good. Some beans hold for a year, some beans hold for 3 or 4 years. I continuously evaluate them. If it's being offered, it's still a good bean. To that end, I want to go over some of those metrics that I evaluate them by. Let's go check that out. The first thing I always do is give it a first look over, a smell. I'm not really looking for anything positive particularly. I'm mostly smelling and looking for blatant defects. So nothing really there, no mold, no mildew, classic vinegar, about all I would really expect from a raw cocoa bean. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and roast it up, make it into 80% chocolate, and then evaluate it. After I've made the chocolate, I always seal it into bags and usually let it sit for a couple days so that when I open it, I get an aroma. That first impression is what I'm looking for here. And there's a little bit of funk there. And that's chocolate a honey badger wouldn't want to eat. All right, minor humor aside, it was astringent, it was bitter, it was sour. That one's done. I won't even bother full evaluating it. Let's talk about the ones that I bring in, and then, as I said, I keep an eye on them over the months and the years, and look at the beans, you're gonna see spider charts. Those spider charts are what I wanna look for, and I evaluate them blind each time, and compare them. And if they start to shift, I evaluate, is it still good enough? Do I rewrite the review, or do I just pull the bean? Add chocolate aside, I'm gonna try a different one. That I want to keep eating. On the short of it, that's my evaluation for, do I want to bring a bean in? Do I want to eat the chocolate? Would I want you to eat that chocolate? I do, on both counts, so I'll bring it in. So as you noticed, I just ate the chocolate, like most people do. There's lots of ways you can taste chocolate, like there's lots of ways you can sip wine, taste a coffee, or anything like that. What you want to do is be consistent. There's no right or wrong way. Just do what's comfortable for you. So I'm going to take a bite, chew it up, and evaluate the level of the chocolate. And for this one, it's a good solid chocolate, and I'm going to score it in just roughly a 4. Acidity, there's some there. It's not a flabby chocolate. There, 3. And this is on a scale of 5, by the way. Bitterness and astringency. Little high on the bitterness, over the halfway mark. Stringency, not that bad. There is a definitive sweet taste. And for that, I'm going to give it a 3-5. And I particularly note to myself, there's some Demerara sugar to it, I note. Going down, fruit often links up with acidity. And there's a moderate acidity. And this one, I'm noting a little apricot. And it jumped right out at me. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. Floral note. You know, when I smelled it, I can't say I really noticed anything. It wasn't totally absent. There was some smell, there was some aroma, but yeah, pretty low. Nuttiness. These go pretty close hand in hand with earthiness. And I usually think of it as, what are some of the other flavors? In this particular case, I noticed a little pecan. And there's a butteriness that I always tend to associate with cashew. 2 good solid ones. I'm going to put it up there. And finally, an earthiness. This sometimes I note as a cleanliness, sometimes not. This one it's a little earthy, definitely. And again, give it a 3. Okay, so I've got a picture. And in many ways, this is sort of a Gestalt representation of what the chocolate tastes like. And note, it's a round profile. And does it match my impressions? The bitterness and the astringency, I can't actually say they stood out. I'm going to bring them down a little bit. Floral, it was a little lower. That earthiness, it was a bit higher. And that's usually what I end up doing for my evaluation. It's sort of a taster's correction But mostly the point is I do it consistently, and I can go back a year later, 18 months later, and compare it. And as long as they don't shift radically, I'll keep holding the beans. One last note. Bitterness, astringency. A lot of people really look for stuff that's way down here. They think of bitterness and astringency as a fault. It's not. It's part of the profile. You've got to have it or the chocolate can taste really flat. Balance. It's about balance. This isn't a race for powerful, and the highest score isn't what's winning and what I evaluate. This is just the qualitative so I can keep track of it. All right. Hey, thanks a lot for watching today. If you like this, please click the subscribe button below. If you've got more questions, again, leave them below. I depend on your questions. If you want some clarifications, leave them in the comments. And that's it. Thanks for watching.